last 45 minutes that Street the Beat was coming at four young gentlemen. Let me give you some background. I live in the West Village, and it's almost impossible to avoid hearing street singers and street performers. I walk past all pantomimists and magicians, but I stopped for some of the singers. And it must have been 3 or 4 years ago. It was clear to me that first two, then three, then four young men, who I later learned were called themselves Street the Beat. I don't think you had a name when you first started singing. I first saw Benji and Robert Melendez. Am I pronouncing it right? Melendez. And then Victor Melendez, the three brothers, and Manny Cortez, who is a friend and also from the South Bronx. And it was clear to me in those early days that this was a much better group than most of the street singers, that they were not going to be dancing for the pennies for long, that the dollars would be coming in. And they, if you are a village stroller, you know the group if you're ever down in the village on a weekend, because they draw the largest crowds with their Beatles songs that they sing, and of course they're evolving into a much more sophisticated group. When I first heard them, it was Beatles songs. Now they're writing their own tunes, and it's clear that there's something exciting happening. I invited them to do a house party for the Fortune Society, and they graciously came and it was at Ramsey Clark's house. And in the audience, or at the apartment, was Greg Dawson, who runs the Ballroom, which is a very smart supper club on West 28th Street, and he has booked them for next Wednesday night. And so I'm going to go, and I hope that we have a BAI night there at the Ballroom. I'll give you the phone number and all that information later on. But they're going to be there next Wednesday night doing 2 shows at 9 and 11. And it's exciting to have you guys going indoors. You're from the South Bronx, and obviously you... let me start by asking, Benjamin, I first heard you, and I'm sure it was just the two of you at first. I heard the two of you sing.
The pioneers.
And I knew that you were brothers, because you clearly, when you sing, you were singing into each other, and I could almost see, if it were a movie, there would be a flashback of two little kids, and I had a feeling that you had been doing that together since you were about 6 years old, because there was such at certain chords, you just sang right into each other's faces, and it just said brothers. When did you start? At what age?
And actually, it started at the age of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It all started at the age of 6. You just hit it on the nose. Came from a background where my father's family's musically inclined, and it all started in church. Church, everybody in the Pentecost church, everybody had to sing.
When did the Beatles come into your life?
64.
And you were living in the South Bronx?
Absolutely.
But how come you weren't singing Latin songs? People are from...
No, well, see, the music that we were influenced at the time, my parents, were not so much like the Latin that you hear today, Tito Puente. It was more like the old folk Puerto Rican music. Daniel Santo, right? The old Puerto Rican bands, you know, and the fact that I don't even know some of the names today, but Tito Puente and these people came later on to our lives.
What brought you down to the village of street singing? How did you put it together as an act that you thought that it would be something that you could go somewhere with?
Well, actually, it started Staten Island Ferry. It all started at the Staten Island Ferry when
You got to explain that one.
Okay, take it right there.
Actually, it all started when we were working in Long Island, and so happens we got laid off in construction. And so happens that my brother Benji says, well, hey, man, what are we going to do now? You know, we ain't making no money. He says, I'll tell you what, we got a good idea. Why don't we just take a crack at it and play at the South Ferry?
But you had already, you were singing around the house together.
Oh, yes, yeah.
How many are you in the family?
There, well, 7 altogether.
Boys and girls?
Boys and girls, there's 3 girls and 4 boys.
Why are they all not rich?
Oh, no. Some of them are not musically inclined. Only the boys are, not the girls.
I had turned my microphone off, and so I wasn't on the air. You were talking to me, and my questions weren't being heard. Sorry. So it was at the Staten Island Ferry, and then you came into the West Village when that became the fad there of.
Exactly. Right there is where it all started, you know. It looked good for us, and it looked very promising.
Do you sing any Latin songs at all?
Yes, we do. One or two, maybe.
One of the songs of mine is called Baila, which we're in the process of getting it all together. And soon we'll be performing that in the streets also to let the people hear a little bit of our Latin side. But we primarily do the Beatles stuff and a lot of our original material.
When you're at the ballroom next week, what are you going to do? Beatles original material in the Latin songs?
Well, there's a good chance we might be doing that Latin song at the ballroom, but right now we're concentrating on the Beatles and the original material. Mainly on the original material, trying to get across.
I have a tape here, and I'm going to play some of your songs. I also am going to try and get you to do some a cappella. Can you do that in the studio at this hour to hear the sound?
It's going to be difficult without a guitar, but
we're going to do 3 songs on tape, and let's see how they sound. If I can try and get some electronic excellence here out of these BAI studios, we'll play some of Street the Beat. Doing some of their original songs, which you'll be doing at the ballroom next Wednesday at 9 and 11. Before you go, remind me to give the phone number for reservations at the ballroom so that people can hear you. Falling in Love.
Oh yeah, ever since that night that you told me I love only you. Girl, you know there is nobody else like you. Oh yeah, I would only think of just wanting to love only you. I think I'm falling in love for the first time. I'm really in love, I
Street the Beat on a rehearsal tape, and they're going to be at the Ballroom next week, and we're going to hear 2 more numbers. Next one's going to be It's Too Late, but that's an original number. Falling in Love, Street the Beat. Pretty good, guys.
Listen carefully to what the respondent says. Often you get answers to more than